Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. It's now 2026, and what we have before our screens is a ThinkPad X200, not an X200, not an X201, not the one upgraded with a quad-core i7 processor. This is a ThinkPad X200 equipped with a Core 2 Duo processor. We're installing wattOS R13 onto it. If you're new here, you might wonder why anyone would bother buying a laptop launched back in 2008. Fair enough. But if you've been around ThinkPads long enough, you'll already know the answer, because this machine still feels like a tool, not an appliance, not a disposable slab of glass, not a sealed battery consumption device. A tool. In a way, wattOS feels like the operating system for such a tool. Let's take a moment to appreciate what's on the desk. This is a 12.1-inch matte display. Resolution 1280 by 800, no scaling. No retina, no fuss, just pixels. This X200 features Intel Core 2 Duo P8600, 4GB DDR3 RAM, Intel GMA4 5nm HD graphics, SATA solid-state drive, and a 6-cell battery, which still manages about an hour and a half of runtime. You know what? That's enough. It handles writing, browsing, SSH sessions, light coding, document creation, and basic media playback perfectly well. The real question isn't can it run Linux. The real question is, will it still run Linux smoothly in 2026? That's where wattOS R13 comes in. So why choose wattOS? wattOS has always centered on efficiency. It is based on the Debian system. It employs a lightweight desktop environment. It prioritizes low power consumption and modest hardware requirements. R13 continues this philosophy. Its foundation lies in Debian 12. This grants you long-term support. You gain access to stable software repositories. You can tap into the vast Debian ecosystem. But beyond that, you also get LXDE. Can LXDE run on older ThinkPads? It delivers a rather special kind of satisfaction. No fuss, no animations, not a Wayland experimental build, simply GTK panels, OpenBox window management, Manus open instantly, and memory usage won't send you into panic mode, crucial for a machine with a Core 2 Duo processor and 4GB of RAM. Over the coming sessions, I shall guide you step by step through installing wattOS R13 from scratch on this ThinkPad X200. This is a genuine setup, genuine configuration, genuine usage. It is a complete live-action installation process and exploration video. So if you enjoy exploring Linux, vintage hardware, classic ThinkPad series, and slow, detailed walkthroughs, then you've come to the right place. Before commencing the installation, let us ensure all necessary items are accounted for. Consider this our pre-flight checklist. First, your ThinkPad X200. Ensure it is fully charged or ideally remain plugged into a power source throughout the process. Second, a USB drive with at least 8GB of storage. This will serve as our installation medium. Third, a reliable internet connection. We shall require it to download the wattOS ISO file. Fourth, download the wattOS ISO on another computer and create a bootable USB. Finally, if your ThinkPad X200 hard drive contains any important data, back it up immediately. Once you have all these items ready, we can proceed to the next step. Our first step is to obtain the wattOS R13 ISO file. This step requires a functional computer with an internet connection. Open your web browser, search for wattOS on Google, and visit the official wattOS website. On the wattOS official website, click Download to proceed to the download page. You will now see multiple versions of wattOS available. For this guide, we need to locate the latest release, which is wattOS R13. This is the system officially recommended by wattOS for stability and critical tasks. wattOS provides several download channels. Select the most suitable method for you to begin. The wattOS R13 ISO file is approximately 1.4 GB in size. Downloading typically takes some time, so please be patient. During the download process, we need to prepare a tool to write the wattOS R13 ISO file to a USB drive, making it bootable. I habitually use Balena Etcher. It is cross-platform, free, and extremely easy to use. Please download and install Etcher on your current computer. After downloading the wattOS ISO file and installing Etcher, insert your USB drive. Open Etcher. Select the downloaded wattOS ISO file, then choose your USB drive as the target drive. Please double-check that you have selected the correct drive. Choosing the wrong one may erase important data on other drives. Click Flash and let Etcher work its magic. This process may take several minutes, depending on the speed of your USB drive. Upon completion, you will receive a confirmation message. Do not format the USB drive afterwards, simply eject it safely. Once the wattOS USB boot drive is prepared, insert it into the ThinkPad X200. Switch on the ThinkPad X200 and immediately press the F1 key repeatedly to enter the BIOS setup interface. Within the BIOS setup interface, first press the F9 key to restore default settings. Then press the F10 key to save and exit. The ThinkPad X200 will reboot. When the ThinkPad startup screen reappears, press the F12 key to enter the boot menu. Within the boot menu, select the USB HDD device and press enter. The wattOS boot screen is now visible. While numerous options are presented, the default selection typically yields the smoothest standard installation on older hardware. Thus, the first option, Live System, is precisely what we require. Select it and press enter to confirm your choice. Your ThinkPad X200 laptop will now load the fully functional live desktop environment of wattOS directly from your USB drive without accessing your internal hard drive. Even on older hardware like the ThinkPad X200, wattOS loads quite swiftly. It took approximately 1 minute before we arrived at wattOS's attractive live desktop. The live desktop environment of wattOS is truly excellent, allowing you to test whether all hardware on your ThinkPad X200 functions correctly. This includes components such as Wi-Fi, audio, touchpad, keyboard, and USB ports. It provides an opportunity to identify any compatibility issues before proceeding with installation. You can access existing drives within the live environment. If you haven't cleared the data yet, you may copy any necessary files, though you should have backed them up already. Within wattOS's live desktop environment, you can also test or trial the operating system's various features. Before installing, I always spend a few minutes moving the mouse, opening menus, and ensuring the system runs smoothly. You'll find wattOS runs remarkably cleanly and smoothly. It lacks flashy thrills but offers rock-solid stability. This holds true even when booting from a USB drive, and that's precisely what we want. The X200's hardware, particularly models equipped with solid-state drives, provides excellent support for lightweight Linux distributions. Pre-installation testing and trialing maximizes assurance that wattOS is compatible with your ThinkPad X200's hardware. If all tests proceed without issue, we may proceed with installing wattOS. Upon the wattOS live desktop, you will observe an icon labeled Install wattOS. Clicking this shall initiate the installer, whereupon a welcome window shall appear. wattOS typically employs a customized Calamares installer. This graphical program is straightforward and highly user-friendly, guiding us step by step through the entire installation process. Step 1. Set your preferred language. This is typically your preferred language by default, though you may configure it to any language you favor. Here I've selected American English. Click Next to proceed. Step 2. Localization settings. Tap your location on the map or enter your city. This will establish your location and time zone, ensuring your clock remains accurate. Click Next to proceed. Step 3. Set your keyboard layout. You may also test your keyboard layout in the provided text box. My ThinkPad X200 uses a standard US keyboard layout, so unless you use a different layout, select this one. Click Next to proceed. Step 4. Configure the installation type, which is the most crucial step. For most users, particularly if you wish to make wattOS your sole operating system or can erase everything on the ThinkPad X200 hard drive, select Erase Disk. This is the simplest option and is strongly recommended for most users installing wattOS as the sole operating system on a ThinkPad X200. It will erase your entire hard drive and automatically create the necessary partitions. If you select this option, ensure you have backed up your data. Click Next to proceed. Step 5. Create your user account. Enter your name, username, computer name, and password. You may also choose to log in automatically or require a password for login. Ensure you remember your password, as it will be required for future system logins and administrative operations. Click Next to proceed. Step 6. Installation summary. This provides an overview of what has transpired since the installer launched based on our configurations. The most critical aspect is confirming changes to the disk. Read the warnings carefully and only click the Install button when absolutely certain. Step 7. The system begins installation. During this period, the installer will copy files, install the system, and configure all settings. On this ThinkPad X200 laptop, the wattOS installation process actually took approximately 6 minutes. During this time, you will see a progress bar alongside wattOS promotional slides. Step 8. Installation complete. The installer informs us that wattOS has finished installing. We may now choose to reboot into the new system or continue using the wattOS live environment. We now click Done to apply the new operating system. During the reboot, once the screen goes black, it is crucial that you remove the USB installation media. This prevents your ThinkPad X200 from attempting to boot from the USB again. With the reappearance of the ThinkPad boot screen bearing the Intel and Lenovo logos, this ThinkPad X200 approaches its defining moment. We witness the wattOS boot screen, which will guide us into a freshly installed wattOS R13. Boot successful. The wattOS desktop loads instantly. No error messages, no delays, no drama. This alone is worth its weight in gold. Not flashy, not corporate, just clean. The desktop environment is restrained and uncluttered. Menu placement is exactly as you'd expect. System settings are logically organized. Nothing demands attention. For the ThinkPad X200, this is precisely the right approach. From reboot to reaching the desktop took approximately 1 minute. wattOS boots significantly faster than any commercial operating system achieved on this 2008 hardware. Naturally, its fluidity is fully apparent through the display. Welcome to experience the lightning-fast wattOS operating system freshly installed on the classic ThinkPad X200s. The LXDE desktop environment is exceptionally lightweight and responsive. For a new Linux installation, our first task should be to check for updates. Although the wattOS ISO is current, new security patches and software updates are always available. We shall now update the system via the command line using the terminal. The terminal is both powerful and swift. You may launch it by clicking its icon or using the shortcut Ctrl+Alt+T. First, type sudo apt update and press enter. You will be prompted for your password. This command updates the list of available packages. At this point, we can type apt list --upgradable to view software eligible for upgrading. Next, enter sudo apt-get dist-upgrade and press enter. This displays a list of all upgradable packages. Press Y for yes to proceed with the installation. This ensures you possess all the latest security patches and software, representing a crucial first step in maintaining security and stability. Once the updates are installed, we must restart the computer to apply the newly installed changes. Right then, we've got it installed, we've got it updated, we've done a quick debug, we've been living with it for over a week now. Now we need to answer the real question, not does it work, but should you be doing this? In 2026, should you install wattOS R13 on a ThinkPad X200 that's nearly 18 years old? Let's approach this with caution. People throw around the word sustainable casually, but let us quantify it. The X200, still structurally sound, retains thermal stability, functionality remains intact, replaceable components, no forced dependency on cloud platforms. Electronic waste is a tangible problem. Most laptops are discarded not because they break, but because software evolves. Operating systems raise core system requirements. Browsers demand more memory. Applications assume solid-state drives and multi-core processors. The hardware hasn't failed. The software has abandoned it. Installing wattOS R13 is more than a hobby. It is a refusal to participate in unnecessary waste disposal. This matters, not symbolically, but materially. Now let's face the facts. Debian 12 Bookworm will receive basic support until 2028, with extended support available if required. Therefore, this machine running wattOS R13 will remain viable for several more years in terms of security updates. Will the web become heavier? Yes. Will JavaScript frameworks grow increasingly bloated? Almost certainly. But here's the crucial point. Text-based workflows will remain viable far longer than unwieldy web applications. The terminal, sh writing, lightweight coding, offline documentation, those workflows age slowly. The X200 handles these scenarios with ease. If your work relies heavily on browsers and applications, its long-term viability diminishes. If your work centers around text and is structured, its viability increases. Next, let's discuss how to maximize this machine's performance. If you're serious about it, install 8 GB of RAM. Use a high-quality solid-state drive. Replace the thermal paste. Clean the cooling fan. Consider replacing the battery. After these steps, it becomes a genuinely stable and portable workstation. Even without them, it remains usable, but functionality will be somewhat limited. Upgrading won't modernize it, but upgrading will stabilize it. You might well ask, who exactly is this intended for? I suspect it suits a great many people. Writers, developers familiar with the terminal, students learning Linux fundamentals, minimalists, those who value repairable hardware, people opposed to forced ecosystem integration. But there are certain work scenarios where it falls short. Content creators editing 4K video, heavy multitaskers running dozens of web applications, enterprise environments requiring proprietary tools, users reliant on continuous video conferencing. Honesty is paramount. When paired with meticulously designed workflows, aging hardware can still deliver optimal performance. But when forced to adapt to modern overconsumption, it struggles. Running wattOS R13 on this X200 holds no particular distinction, no flashy desktop, no RGB lighting effects, no boastful performance claims. Here it is quiet. This very silence is an act of radicalism, because it rejects planned obsolescence, because it rejects artificial software bloat, because it rejects the relentless feature creep that accompanies development cycles, because it rejects forced ecosystem lock-in. Instead, it embraces simplicity, stability, efficiency, local control. By 2026, this stance appears almost diametrically opposed to mainstream culture. You might ask whether this still makes sense in 2026. Yes, but only if you understand why you're doing it. If you're chasing performance metrics, then the answer is no. If you're pursuing deliberate computation, then yes. If you wish to experiment with the lightweight Linux ethos, then certainly. If you desire an undisturbed writing machine, then absolutely. If you expect it to fully replace a modern workstation, then I'm afraid not. And that's perfectly fine. Not every machine needs to do everything. Watching a ThinkPad X200 boot into a modern Linux desktop system in 2026 brings a profound sense of satisfaction. It reminds us that hardware longevity typically hinges on software performance limits rather than physical failure. wattOS R13 respects the ThinkPad X200's hardware. It does not overload the system. It does not artificially modernize it. It doesn't pretend to be something it never was. It simply provides a space for it to function well. Perhaps this is the lesson we should take away. Technology doesn't always need to be upgraded or iterated. Sometimes it needs to settle and stabilize. Sometimes it needs to return to simplicity. Sometimes it needs to step aside at the right moment. When it does these things, even an 18-year-old laptop can be reborn. Thank you for taking the time to accompany me. If you have an old ThinkPad gathering dust on a shelf, perhaps it needn't be discarded. Perhaps you could install lightweight software. Perhaps you could try something new. Perhaps you could rediscover the feeling of focused computing. Until our next video.